Okay, today we're going to be working with Act 2 of the Crucible. We know that several things happened. We know that in Act 1, Reverend Paris caught the girls dancing in the woods. And Betty Paris and Ruth Putnam are unconscious because of this event. We also know that Abigail Williams drank chicken blood. We also knew that they were trying to bring back from the dead one of the sisters of Ruth Putnam. We also knew that they were trying to do a spell, in this case Abigail, to try, in this case, and kill Elizabeth Proctor. So we knew several things. We have an important character that arrived at the end of Act 1, and that's Reverend Hale. Reverend Hale will question the things that are happening. He is also going to find out that the one doing all of this supposedly was Tituba, because Abigail was accusing Tituba. After that, we knew that Goody Osborne and Sarah Good were also accused. Then Betty woke up and started accusing people. So Tituba. Yeah, they were both. They started both to accuse people. So we have Tituba. We had Abigail. Abigail even said that she wrote in the book of the devil. So our problem, it's starting to boil up, and it's gonna head up to Act 2. Okay, and let's start. Act 2 will begin in the house of the Proctors, of John and Elizabeth Proctor, and they're having dinner. Apparently, John arrived late at the house of the Proctors. The thing is that Elizabeth doesn't know that John was at Salem. However, Elizabeth is kind of suspecting that John was in Salem. Okay? John is trying to make Elizabeth happy. Why? Because he has a lot of weight on his shoulders. He was the one that had the affair with Abigail. And the thing here is, Elizabeth does not trust John Proctor, because John Proctor is not being sincere with Elizabeth. So you're having a clash between husband and wife, okay? Mary Warren, who is the servant of the Proctors, it is known by Elizabeth Proctor that she has been in Salem because she has been called to be an official of the court. Before John Proctor knew about the official of the court, he grew angry about it because he said, I told her not to be, or not to go to Salem. Therefore, when Elizabeth told him that she is going to be an official of the court, then that's, things are getting more normal, okay? Also, John Proctor is going to find out that 14 people have been put in jail because of witchcraft. 14, okay? Now, Elizabeth is speaking to John, and she wants John Proctor to go to Salem and speak to Abigail, and in some way unmask Abigail, because she's starting to suspect that the things that are happening in Salem had something to do with Abigail. However, John Proctor will hesitate, and he therefore will reveal that he spoke to Abigail. Where did he spoke to Abigail? In Reverend Paris' house. Okay, they spoke alone in one of the rooms, and that's gonna make Elizabeth very angry. And one thing, if Elizabeth wasn't trusting John Proctor, now she wouldn't trust more. Why? Because the problem here is of the mistrust. John Proctor, he is not being sincere, and he's hiding things from Elizabeth. Okay. John Proctor in this case will also grow angry because Elizabeth is not believing what he's saying. But Elizabeth is, how can I be able to believe you if you're not being sincere with me? So this is a matter of communication and trust. And that's it for scene number 1. Now we're going to move to scene 2 of Act 2. Mary Warren will return from Salem, and Proctor will be very mad about this. However, Mary Warren is going to tell John Proctor, calm down, because every single day I'm going to have to go to Salem to be an official of the court. She has to testify in the court. But what do you think that Mary Warren is an official of the court? She's what? Where was she? Why she was suspected? A suspectful. Why she's a witness? Where was she when the girls were unconscious? Mary Warren was one of the girls that was dancing in the woods. She was in the woods, therefore she's a suspect. Okay? Mary Warren is going to give a very important thing to Elizabeth. She gives a puppet that apparently she made it while at court. That puppet will be fundamental in this play. Okay. Also, Mary Warren will tell the proctors that 39 people are in jail because of witchcraft, and that Goody Osborne will be hanged because she is not admitting to witchcraft. Remember that this is a thing of pride. If you admit that you're doing witchcraft, forever you will be known, even though you go to jail and you later get out, forever you're going to be known in the town as a witch. So probably some of you are thinking, but if you're going to be protected, isn't it better to say, yes, I was a witch, yes, I practiced witchcraft, you'll be in jail, and then you're safe. But the thing is, several of them could be killed, and another thing, their reputation will go big time low to the floor, okay? Proctor is super angry because he is saying that they are jailing people without the proper and sustainable evidence, okay? We're also going to know in scene 2 of Act 2 that Mary Warren will tell Elizabeth, you were accused of witchcraft. However, I protected you and the court dismissed you as a possible witch. Okay, that's for now, for the moment. Elizabeth is already thinking that the one behind all of this is Abigail, and she knows that Abigail is doing this to get her executed and therefore to stay or to keep John Proctor. So Elizabeth is going to tell John that he should go there and speak to her. Okay. Another thing, Elizabeth tells John Proctor, tell Abigail Williams that even though something bad happens to me, she will never have you. John Proctor is going to hesitate, like, no, but why do we need to do that? And that's going to start another fight between them. Scene 2 is done. Now we're going to go to scene 3. Reverend Hale will visit the Proctors. And he is going to tell John Proctor and Elizabeth that Elizabeth has been named to go to the court. So Elizabeth will have to go to court. Okay? Reverend Hale is going to start questioning John Proctor for his visiting of the church, his absence at church. He hasn't gone to church frequently. And remember, the people of Salem were very religious, so therefore you had to go constantly to church. If you didn't go to church, then in that case you're going to be kind of suspect for in this case. Reverend Hale will ask John Proctor to say the 10 Commandments. The problem here is John Proctor said 9 commandments, but he is forgetting one. What do you think is that one that he is forgetting? John Proctor, when the Reverend Hale asked him to say out loud the commandments, he told them each and every one of them. However, there was one that he was not remembering. Which was that? What? No. No.
Sin.
No. Which one? Starts with an A. Adultery. He could not remember the adultery commandment. What do you think he forgot? Because he committed adultery. So that's why he did not remember that commandment. Okay? So Elizabeth will say out loud the commandment, and right there John will be put in a difficult spot because she realized that he forgot that commandment because of his unfair affair with Abigail Williams. Okay. Now, Reverend Hale will reveal to John Proctor that Abigail Williams admitted witchcraft, and therefore she is not being accused of being the problem with the girls. So by Abigail Williams confessing to witchcraft, or that he wrote her name in the book, that's going to protect her. Okay. Now, Rebecca Nurse will arrive with Gauss Corey, and that's going to bring kind of a difficulty because they're going to be also accused, and Rebecca Nurse will be also accused of possible witchcraft because they had a list of possible people doing witchcraft, and Elizabeth in that case was one of them being accused. Okay. Now, scene 4. Ezekiel Cheever, very important character in Act 2, will come into the house of the Proctors. And he has a warrant for the arrest of Elizabeth Proctor. So they're going to arrest Elizabeth. Now, remember that I told you something about the puppet. Ezekiel Cheever will ask Elizabeth for the puppet. When she looks for the puppet, they open the puppet and they're going to find out that a needle was inserted inside the puppet. So Mary Warren apparently did something with the puppet, and now they're accusing Elizabeth of witchcraft. Something happened in the court that they are blaming Elizabeth, okay? Ezekiel Cheever will tell Hale and Proctor that the reason why they are arresting Elizabeth is because Abigail Williams has accused Elizabeth of attempting a murder. Okay? So Elizabeth is going to be taken to jail because apparently she intended to murder Abigail according to Abigail. Okay? Abigail said that she was stabbed with a needle while eating at Paris' house. So she's saying, I got stabbed with a needle, and what needle she was stabbed? With the needle that was inside the doll. So apparently the voodoo or the witchcraft they're doing with the doll was to kill Abigail Williams. That's why the puppet is very important here. So Abigail is going to accuse Elizabeth of stabbing her with her spirit. Okay. Now, Mary Warren will tell Hale that when she was making the puppet, she kept the needle. She put it inside the doll and then she closed it. So therefore, Abigail saw that she was putting the needle inside the doll. Therefore, she made everything up to accuse Elizabeth. So look at the things that Abigail Williams is doing already. Okay. Proctor is trying to convince Mary Warren that she has to testify in court against Abigail. It's like you have to say the truth. You have to say what happened. The thing is that you're putting Mary Warren in a difficult situation because the one leading all of this is Abigail Williams. She is manipulating all of the situation. Okay? Now, very important. John Proctor is trying to ask Mary Warren to testify against Abigail Williams. However, she is scared because she knows that Abigail and the rest of the girls will turn against her. And right there is how scene 4 of Act 2 ends. So basically, to recap Act 2, you're going to have an instability between the Proctors, and also you're going to have accusations from Abigail Williams against Elizabeth. We already know why she's doing this, because the only thing she wants is to take Elizabeth out of the way. So now Elizabeth will be taken to jail. Rebecca Nurse will also be taken to jail. Okay? So now all of this and this ending of Act 2 is going to boil up from the beginning of Act 3. Okay? So everything is going to be constructed for our next act. So that'll be it for Act 2.